hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lucy and today I'm filming a bit of a different video. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm hoping it's something you'll still all enjoy, especially with the kind of like state of the world right now. I'm sure, like me, you are probably stuck in your house for the foreseeable and are looking for like new things to do, and obviously this channel will always be recommending books, but I wanted to recommend something a bit different, and that is board games and card games, which I've recently really gotten into. So there's kind of a range of suggestions here, from kind of easier, more like chilled out games to play like on a Sunday afternoon when you just want to chill and like you don't want to think about something more complex. And then there is the more like complex games, and I mean like complex to me because I'm no expert, and obviously I am kind of like new to this. I know there's obviously like it's such a huge world, like board games and stuff. So if you're kind of like an expert and you're like, puffed, this is like really not expert, just bear with me because, you know, it kind of took me a while to learn some of these and get to grips with some of them, but they're all really fun. They're all very kind of like up my street. And also I would say, like, if you know my kind of reading style, which is more towards like the fantasy end, I love like epic fantasy, high fantasy, just like great storytelling in general. A lot of these board games and card games are kind of down the same like vibe. So let's kick off. I'm gonna kick off with the kind of easier, more like, I guess more casual of games. And it's also something really, really fun and super cute. So the first one is, got like a stack of them here, Sushi Go Party, which is it's basically like, you've got, let me open the box, oh my god, things are like falling everywhere. So basically you have a kind of menu. It's like basically like based on sushi, where like each different type of sushi has different like point values. So we've got the kind of like deck, like board, actual like board here, and then you can create a menu. So you've got your like rolls, you've got your appetizers, your desserts, etc. And you basically slot in what you want your game to be. So you can kind of like, it's really customizable. It's also quite quick, I would say. But these are like, in the box, it kind of comes like this, which is really cute, quite like a really sweet design. And then you would basically choose how you want your game to be. So for example, if we pick like, in rolls, we would pick like the tamaki, which is really cute. This is this here. So whoever gets the most of these cards gets 4 points. So it kind of is like based on, it's all point based and, you know, really customizable, like I said. What I like about this game the most though, is that all the cards are just super adorable. I want to show you guys my favorite card, which is the egg nigiri. Look how cute that is. Oh my god, I'm just so obsessed. So it's really, really cute. It's really fun. It's like pretty like good for all ages, I would say. So I think like if you have younger people playing this, like kids or whatever, I think they would really enjoy it. It's also just like such a fun way to spend an evening. And it's just adorable. Like all of the cards have just like really cute faces. So I'm a big fan of this, and like I said, it's not something where you're going to spend ages trying to like learn the rules for this. It is really simple and also quite addictive. So it does have that like replayability. So you will just be like, you know, changing up the menus, like changing up the playing styles, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're kind of after something really fun, quick, casual, I think Sushi Go Party is a good shout. And I will link all these games down below, by the way. I'll try and find links to them all so you can just order them online, which I feel like a lot of you guys are probably looking for things to fill your time. So Sushi Go Party is my #1 pick for kind of like an easy, really like not complicated at all, fun game. So next up we have like one of my personal favorites. This is one of my like favorite games ever now. It's called Azul, and it's like, as you can see, it's all these different tiles. It's super cool. This is like weirdly the German version because that's all we can find. But I will try and link whatever version down below. It doesn't really matter because you don't need to like read anything. And the instructions are quite simple. I think they're online. So no matter what version you get, Azul is really great. So let me open up the box and show you guys. So basically, I'm going to try and explain this one, hopefully easy enough. But basically each player, so I think you can play up to 4 people, but we've been playing it just with 2 people, and I think it works a lot better like that because you can be more like strategic, which is great. So you get a board like this. The goal is to basically, you have a pool of different tiles. Let me get the bag out. Pool of tiles in the middle, and they kind of like look like this. So they're like different color tiles. There's like little star ones. Like basically there's 5 different types of tiles. And the goal is basically to fill in the board, so fill in your tiles. So, you know, you can put in a blue one here and you get that point. So this one obviously requires 5 of the same color tiles. And then the goal is basically to get the most points. So this is the point tracker up at the top, and then you can kind of like be really sneaky and try and be more strategic about it, see what the other player is doing and see what like pattern they're trying to get. You get the most points for having the same color. So if you get all of the blue stars, you get 10 points. If you have a vertical row, you get 7. So it's kind of like based on that kind of point system. Basically, this is just a lot of fun. It's like such a simple premise, but I think it's one of the best. I just love this game. I'm always like, of all the games, I'm always like, I just want to play Azul all the time. Also, I just think like it just looks so cool. Like all the kind of like tile design is just really pretty. Basically, great way to spend a Sunday afternoon, essentially. That would be my choice. It's quite, I wouldn't say it's like immediately very simple. Like it will take you a little bit to kind of learn the rules and stuff, but it's a lot more like simple than, you know, some of the more like story-based games that I am about to show you next. And I would say that like, once you get the hang of this, you can just replay it, and it does get really frustrating because like there is an element of strategy and you can only, you know, if someone else has like picked the tiles that you want, like, trust me, it gets very heated. So I would recommend Azul. That's my kind of like, out of all the games, I do really, really love this one. And I will link it down below as well. Okay, the next one is probably like quite apt for this channel, and especially if you are watching this and you're one of my long-term subscribers and you know that my book tastes are kind of more skewed towards the fantasy end, I think you will definitely see something in this like I did. This is Call to Adventure, which is basically like a storytelling game. I'm going to try and explain this, I might struggle, but basically it takes a bit longer to get the hang of this, and especially like as a board game noob such as myself, like it definitely took me a bit longer to get the hang of. But once you get the hang of it, it is so good. Like you can happily spend like, I would say probably like an hour on this game. It is a bit longer than Azul and Sushi Go Party, which are kind of like quick, you know, probably about like 20 minutes, maybe like less than that. Whilst Call to Adventure is a bit longer, a bit like meatier, I would say. So it says 1 to 4 players on the box, but we've only played it with two players, and that worked out really well, I think. And let me explain what it actually is about. You each get a board like this. Basically, the idea is to craft a story. So you get an origin card here, which you and your partner, whoever's playing, you would kind of know what your origin is from the beginning of the game. You would also get a motive card, and that is basically like your characters, like motivations for all of their actions. Their origins is like where they've come from, and then this card at the end is their destiny. So that is always left turned over like the whole way through the game. You know what it is, but the person you're playing with or the people you're playing with don't know what that's going to be until the end of the game. So basically your destiny card will have basically some like a goal on it, and that determines how many points you get throughout the game. So your destiny card could be like, you have to pick the evil options for the whole game. And so like there's so many different things you have to choose. So you get like, you know, there's cards to choose from. You have to basically build up your story into 3 acts. So that's what I kind of like about it, because if you're also a writer, it is basically just like drafting a novel essentially, and they give you kind of the prompts. So this is Act 1, this is Act 2, this is eventually Act 3, and then you reveal your destiny card at the end. and everything makes sense. But I think there's two ways you can play this, in that you can just take this as it is, as a kind of like a basic, not basic, it's definitely not basic, but like, you know, a card playing game where you're playing to win points, you're playing to win, you're playing to kind of meet your objective on your destiny card. But then something that is really, really fun about this is actually crafting your character's story. So you can, I think that one thing that we've kind of like battled with whenever we've played it is that you can either like go down the points route, and obviously you want to win, so you have to get as many points as you can, but also like you can pick cards that match your story, so match your origin. Maybe you're like an orphan, and then for example one of the motivation cards that you get could be like, I don't know, like born lucky, so like you get like luck and stuff like that. So basically you can just be the points person, just aim in it to win it, but then there's also such a world around this where you can craft a story, and that is something that's making this game, I think, really unique and special. So I love this. It's kind of got the like morality bar on the side, like good and evil, and you can kind of like twist different ways. It's just awesome, basically. It's also like the art style on the cards is incredible. So let me just show you some examples. This is one of the cards from Act 2. Frozen Peak, and it's just so stunning. Like the art is gorgeous, and yeah, it's just really gorgeous. And one thing to know that you might appreciate is that there are loads of expansions. Well, I say loads, I think there's like 2 expansions, but they are based on actual book series. So the first one is based on Patrick Rothfuss's King Killer Chronicles. I think that's like the series name. So it's Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. I think it might just be, I think it's based on the entire series, not just the first book. So it's based on those Patrick Rothfuss books, so all the cards will be based on like what the plot of those books are, which is awesome. I think that one's out now, and there's also plans to do a Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive version, which as a Brandon Sanderson fan myself, I'm so down for. I've not read the Stormlight Archive, I've read the Mistborn series, but like he is such an incredible storyteller that I think that would just be such a unique expansion. So I think Call to Adventure is like such a an incredible board game if you're a book fan, if you're a fantasy fan, and I'd recommend it. I think like this is a bit more, to me, on the complex scale. Like it took me a while to learn the rules. But once you're like in there with the rules, like it is so easy to follow. You can easily spend a good like hour and a bit on this game. Perfect Sunday afternoon, you know, like just whisked the hours away, especially right now when you kind of want some escapism. This is perfect. Okay, so next up is one of the more complicated ones, as I was kind of like promising at the beginning. This is Disney's Villainous. First of all, let me just say, like the box is stunning. It's all like the gold foil, which I really appreciate. It's very nice. So if you're a Disney fan, you probably already know about this, but I'd never heard of it before. A few of my friends have already heard of it and are kind of like already hyped about it. But this is kind of more on the complicated end, mainly because it's basically based on loads of Disney villain characters. So you've got like Cruella de Vil, you've got Maleficent, etc, etc. And whilst like a normal board game will have like one set of rules for the whole game, this is different in that it has a different set of rules for each character in the game. So as I said, I've only played this, and in fact all of the games, as like a 2-player game. But if you and the person you're playing with pick, you know, 2 different characters, I think this one's like Ursula, and who's this one? Oh, Captain Hook. So you get like a really cute little figurine. I really like these, they're really adorable. But each of these will have their own completely different rule set, completely different motive. And you get these boards. So depending on the character that you pick, this is Prince John from Robin Hood. Yes, oh my God, I completely forgot that there. Lose my mind. So you get this kind of like really nice flip out board, and this is like your board, and basically you have an objective here. It says Prince John's objective: start your turn with at least 20 power. So it is turn-based, each person has their own set of rules to follow. However, that does not mean that it's not competitive, because there are different kind of actions you can take depending on the location that you can move to. And there's this little icon here, which is a fate action. And that means that you can, like, basically each character has a fate deck. And that's basically their like challenges. So you can fate the other player, and then they get something, like they have to draw 2 cards. The other player has to kind of pick what card they want the other player to deal with, but they're each kind of like very like different actions that will hold you back in your game and stop you completing your objective. So it's really like complex in that sense that like you are operating on 2 different sets of rules. And also you get, depending on what player you have, you get a little kind of guidebook on just basically explaining all your rules. So it's really fun in that sense because you're playing your own game, but then also you don't want the other player to reach their objective and complete their objective, because then they've basically won the game. So it's really, really fun in that sense that you're kind of like, you've got your own motives, but also you don't want the other player to win. So I think this is just like a lot of fun. It did take me a bit longer to get the hang of, but I love that it's the Disney theme, and like if you kind of learn the rules and get stuck in, and then basically you've just got like 2 hours of like fun. It's great. I would say also what makes this game really great is how replayable it is, because you can pick different characters and it's a completely different set of rules. So you could be really confident with one character and you win that game, but then the next character you get could be a completely different set of rules and you're basically like, great, all that's out the window. Also, what's great about this is it has 2 or 3 other expansions, just with different villain characters, and they are like releasing new ones. So there's always going to be new content. Obviously, like Disney is such a well-loved, like all the characters are so familiar. What I really like doing is putting on the Disney villain soundtrack, so that it's so like atmospheric and you're like in that like film basically. Such a nerd. But I would really recommend this. It's a lot of fun, and I think if you're looking for something to take up a bit more time, you don't want something kind of easy and done with, you want to really learn the rules, you want to really get stuck into a world, I would recommend Disney Villainous. I think it's awesome. Okay, and finally we have the more complex end of the spectrum here. This is Arkham Horror, the card game. It is based on the stories of H.P. Lovecraft, who I don't really know a lot about. I will just put my hands up and say I've not read any H.P. Lovecraft. I'm sure there's loads of you guys out there who are big fans of his work, but I knew nothing about him or the worlds or anything, and I didn't realise there was such a kind of like, not fandom, but like kind of a world around it that's based, the basis of so many games and so many like card games. But there's this entire like universe that I just never realised. Anyway, Arkham Horror is based on H.P. Lovecraft stories, and this is definitely more difficult to learn the rules. Like, let me just say, I had to spend a good half an hour reading this. So my boyfriend, I bought this for his birthday this week actually, or maybe last week. And before we even started playing, we both read this massive like learn to play manual. And I still didn't really understand. There's so many components to this, it's like a bit mind-blowing. But when you get the hang of it, guys, it is insanely good. It's so brilliant. So one thing about this, it is a story-based game. It is a co-op game. So you and the person you're playing with, I think you can play up to 4 people, but you need 2 boxes. I think that's right. But we only play 2-player, obviously. But it is a co-op game, so you have to help each other find the clues. It's basically like not a murder mystery, but it's like a mystery-based game. So basically, there are all these like awful creatures, like demonic creatures, and you and your other investigator have to solve, you know, the mystery and have to get out of this situation. You each play as a character, And what I should say is that this isn't a usual card game in that you play it once. It's a campaign game. So we've done, the first time we played this, we just played one scenario, which means we played one kind of solo situation just to test the waters, see if we liked it. And then last night we actually played the first of our campaigns. And then I think this weekend we're just going to play the rest of the campaigns basically. So that means you stick with the same character, you stick with the same attributes, anything that happened in the first scenario of the campaign, you kind of have to keep going the whole way through. So what I like about this setup, bear in mind I've never played any campaign games before, I really liked how unique it was, how like you can get really into the story, really into your character. So what I was going to say before is that you can pick your character. So I'm not going to get all the cards out, and I hope you can see, but the card I was playing was, the card I am playing is Daisy Walker, the librarian. So she's got her own kind of like special abilities, her own attributes, so she's like really intelligent. So when it comes to finding out clues, she's like really great at investigating clues. Whilst there are more kind of people who are more on the brute strength end, so if you need to fight some monsters, they're your people. So it's good for you and whoever you're playing with to have a mix of attributes so you can do different things and help each other out. So this is one thing that I've not really played before. It's like the co-op sense, helping each other out, which I found really fun because most of the time you're so, like the competition in board games is all well and fun, but I also like the co-op style. So this is like super dark, super fascinating, takes a lot of commitment, and we played the first of the campaign last night, as I said. It took about 3 hours. So if you're kind of after something, as I'm guessing most of you guys are gonna be in isolation or in lockdown right now, like we are during this whole coronavirus crisis, I think games like this, where it can really take you out of this like world that we're in now, transport you into something different, and also just take up like hours of your day, which is really great. So I would completely recommend Arkham Horror. It takes some getting used to, I'm not gonna lie, it is a commitment. I think like if you're more novice and you just want something quick and easy, this isn't for you. But if you're kind of like interested in getting immersed into a world, you kind of want to experiment with a more campaign-based game, this is the one for you. And also, if you're a reader, I think it's also really special because like, I don't know, like the plot is so brilliant, and it's kind of inspired me to read some H.P. Lovecraft now, so maybe I'll get into that. I know it's like a whole world that so many people are like immersed in and fans of, but I've just not been aware of this before, so I need to get on this. Anyway, guys, would recommend. All board games are going to be linked down below in the description bar, and I really hope you get a chance to check some of them out. So I think that is it for my board game recommendations. I think there's 5 games I've recommended today. I really hope that if you're already a board game fan or a card game fan, you can recommend some to me as well. We're always looking for more board games, guys. Help us out. So do leave your comments down in the comment bar below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you would like to try some of these as well and which ones you'd like to try. Like, I really want you guys to start playing Call to Adventure, because if you're a fan of my book videos, I'm sure you'll love that game. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for more videos coming up whilst we're in lockdown. I hope you're all keeping really well and safe, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Bye, guys.